Welcome. This is your friendly Linux neckbeard slash Arch elitist. Just kidding. Take that, Microsoft fanboys. It's Spooky here, aka HonDaddy69 JK. Just kidding. That was just the username of a World of Warcraft guildmate when I was a kid. They used to pay me a 1 million gold for him to send me pictures of him, and that motherfucker was hairy as shit. And before you ask, don't be afraid. He never showed me his Caterpie, but I'll never be able to see a Caterpie the same way. No, he did not show me his Caterpie. Okay, so today we'll be reviewing the Swiss Stew, but this won't be like a regular review. I'm actually going to review this from the point of view of someone who's actually more tech savvy from the technical perspective. Along with, I'm going to talk about jailbreaking, which is technically yes and no jailbreaking, and loopholes and how to get around it. No, I won't show you how to do it, nor I will show you what tools I use, because I don't want Nintendo to nuke me off the face of the earth for that reason. But I want to say that this Nintendo Switch 2 review, it won't be like, I'm not going to be shilling for no company. I'm going to just say it how it is, even if it sounds dry. This is usually how I freaking do things. I'm going to tell you the good and bad and my experience with it. Anyways, now let's get to reviewing this plastic princess and get into it.
Present day. Present time.
Okay, now, so this console retails at 449 American dollars, and I want to say that this is actually a really good price. I look up the specs and what's the equivalent of Intel and, NVIDIA, and I wanted to look actually what it will cost if I was to build this handheld myself, and how much would it cost compared to if I was going to build a PC that performs equally as well as this. So if you're to buy the parts and actually make this handheld from scratch yourself, like some DIY freaking handheld, this will cost you roughly around from $350 to $465. And if you're to build a PC that actually performs equally as well as this, you'll be paying around $555 to $830. And that's without having Windows. Pretty much, and you decide to use a type of Linux distro or SteamOS or what the fuck you want, or anything that's made for handheld. But anyways, so that's pretty much the price you'll pay for the PC, which is, in my eyes, this is more like a mid-tier PC, or for some games that you're talking about AAA games, then this is going to be like the minimum specs pretty much. Now, this Nintendo price is actually really good price considering how much building a PC that performs equally as this costs. So I don't know why people are bitching about this price. I don't know what you're talking about. It's really cheap considering what it does and how it performs and the specs. It's actually pretty cheap unless you take in consideration that they actually limit what you could do with hardware. But yeah, for the price of this console and the power it packs, it's actually, they're probably underselling it a little bit. Well, it's cheaper because, you're limited by what you could do with it. But for a console, it's actually pretty cheap. And keep in mind, it comes with the dock station, etc. So those people are complaining. I don't know what to tell you.
You're not just wrong, you're stupid. Now wait just a minute. And you're ugly, just like your mum.
However, if you intend to play AAA games and bought this, you're kind of an idiot. Don't get me wrong, yeah, it's a really cheap console, and it's pretty cheap for a handheld, but when it comes to most intensive games, you're actually be pretty limited, as it's closer to like a cheap minimum spec PC, or for some people, mid-tier. I would even call it mid-tier. Not only that said, if you think about all the prices you pay for different handhelds over the years and different consoles, at that point, you could have put that money together and put together a computer that will actually last you way longer, and you'll get more juice out of it, and you'll be able to push it farther and overclock it. So I won't be playing those type of like AAA games because I have a perfect RTX 5090 and i7 13700K overclock at 5 gigahertz, so there's no reason to let that go to waste. When you buy a Swiss shoe, you buy it for exclusives, not to play modern games. Like, no shit, this is not meant for modern games. I know some Nintendo fans like to tell themselves that it can, but the reality is it's just simply not. I ran Venture. It's not. It's not meant for AAA games. So any AAA game that comes out that get ported, just get ready that it'll be performing like actual dog shit. So don't even think about it. Stick to. I personally only play Nintendo exclusive games. Only reason I bought it. Okay, so there's not really much different except you get a bigger screen and you get these Joy-Cons, and the Joy-Cons, they basically kind of feel just larger, and they got like this rubbery feel to them that actually feels really nice. And I'll let you know right off the bat, I know one or two things about controllers. I have scuff controllers. I have a bunch of different scuff. I have a whole box plastic bin of controllers and keyboards. So when it comes to controller and keyboards, I know one or two things. I've even bought my own. And by the texture of the rubber of the Joy-Cons, I can tell you right up, those are the material they're made in over time. Those are actually going to degrade. They actually want to make sure you clean your hands because those are like oil magnets and it's going to get real ugly real quick. As for the battery lasts around 4 hours, I would say, on regular use, which is really not that much, but it's just like, let's say you're playing on your break, then that shouldn't really be that much. But keep in mind, the battery it could be slightly better than the Switch too, but when you have a machine that's this strong, when it comes to playing games that are in 10 steps, you're probably gonna give it like an hour or an hour and a half, and it feels like every certain minutes you're degrading 1% of battery. So for really intensive games, the battery could basically not last and it'll freaking die pretty quick. But me personally, I just play it on break or if I'm in the go, but I'm not gonna be there forever. Now, if you're gonna go into an airplane or something like that, you probably want to have like one of those backup docks, or I don't know if there's like a rechargeable base that you could carry. I'll recommend that if you're going to airports or whatever you're doing. Anyways. Oh, I would say also the screen is not what's the other screen? OLED? Okay, so it's not OLED, which I kind of miss it. Like, there's nothing wrong. This is an LCD screen, which is actually pretty good for an LCD screen. It looks pretty good. It looks like I've never seen an LCD screen like this on a handheld. And Nintendo has said that they're not planning of making an OLED version, but you could actually tell the difference when it comes to coloring. The OLED is not. I know Nintendo likes to claim that, oh, we're not gonna do it because this LCD screen is better than the OLED, but I refuse. When it comes to the blue colors, especially when you use it at night, the color as compared to the Switch 2, I like the Switch 1 OLED since a lot better in color and saturation. When it comes to this one, it's like it looks kind of dull when you're playing it in the dark compared to it. And no, it's not better in the OLED. So Nintendo can keep saying what they say, but the only difference if you put the fidelity. So now the Switch 1, yes, it's lower fidelity, but if you focus just on the colors, then yeah, the OLED colors are kind of better. It's just better textures on the Switch too. Now let's talk about the performance slash jailbreaking. Oh, not jailbreaking, Jack. I keep teasing this a lot, and I feel like that South Park meme when the kids went to the guy who made Game of Thrones, and the Game of Thrones guy was trying to get them to stay. It was like, yeah, the dragons are coming, and then a bunch of wieners, floppy wieners everywhere. I swear I feel like that. It's coming, and it's like, oh my fucking god, I'm actually doing it. I'm just playing the meme. There, have it. You'll get what I mean. Now, performance wise, there's a catch for the 4K, I would say. So the 4K only works on docked mode, which is basically on the TV or the monitor that you hooked up to, and it's only at 60 frames per second. Not only that, it's used upscaler technology to actually be able to meet up the expectation, which makes sense because this is pretty much similar to the RTX 2050. And I'm like, yeah, how the fuck did they manage that? And even at that, with the upscaler, you don't really get 60 frames per second. You only get 40 frames per second, or 30-ish at most in reality. As for the 1080, which is kind of like dog shit, I actually seen the Steam Deck actually being able to push even harder, which is weird considering whatever. I'm not even gonna question it. As for the 1080p or 1920 by 1080p at 60 FPS or 100 120 frames per second. This is really selective. Yes, the 60 frames per second works on most games most of the time, but when it comes to 120 frames per second, it's that same thing that Sony does. It's that Sony does it better. Where Nintendo only has specific games that could run at 100 frames per second, like indie games like Silk Song. Like, no shit, that's gonna run 120 frames per second. It's a fucking indie game. I don't know why they made this like that. Now, I have to say, when it comes to 1920 by 1080, it does keep 60 frames per second, and it's a huge difference. I thought I wasn't gonna notice much of a difference, but the Switch one actually struggles with things. But this console has another thing I want to say is that the console has huge overheating problems, and it gets extremely hot to the point I actually had to put my handheld down, and I press it against my left butt cheek. And if you could feel that, through the Vietnamese jungle, that's how you know the console is getting too hot. Why did I do that? Don't ask. I'm a fucking weird person. A freaking weird person. Anyway, I wish they would have put like some fans, better fans in the console, or they'll put like some sort of fans in the docks that could actually help this, because they get extremely hot and I get scared at times. And yes, there is voice chat, but I don't think anyone cares about that, to be honest. Nintendo acting like they discovered voice chat, like the same way that Christopher Columbus claimed to discover America. Now, what you all been waiting for, and we're gonna be talking about the jailbreaking and how far you can push it. So I built something smarter. I guess you could call it a bridge, a fully wireless bridge that links the Switch 2 to my PC while even touching the Nintendo's firmware at all. So here's what's really happening under the hood. Instead of cracking into the system, I created what's called an application layer bridge. Basically, my Switch 2 uses its normal official network functions like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the same stuff designed to be used by default, and my PC runs a custom listener that pretty much speaks the language. Think of it like I wrote a translator. The Switch talks normally, my software listens and responds in a way that the open source app can understand OBS controller servers and whatever I need. No firmware edits, no NAT writes, no injecting payload. This is sandbox. So the console stays stock. It doesn't even know that it's talking to the open source software. My PC pretty much handles the heavy lifting and converts everything in real time and keeps communication completely isolated. That means that if something glitches, nothing really happens on the Switch side, or the Switch even notice it. From the technical point of view, what I built is the network level middleware layer. It's a safe, I guess you could call it a safe handshake between a closed system and an open one. It's built around permitted communication channels that are not exploit, pretty much. So it's the same philosophy. I follow the same philosophy that companies like Valve and Sony use when they integrate cross-platform tools and talk to APIs. They don't rewrite firmware, basically. Now, I can't. So yeah, it's real engineering. It's not really jailbreaking, but it's a workaround. Now, I can't take the full credit because I did have my father that pretty much answered certain questions, and he was helping me over, this progress. So I can't take all the credit thanks to him. I'm not an engineer, nor I claim to be an engineer, but I grew up around a dad that was an engineer, so I know a lot of things. I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I have an idea in certain things and how things work, but I always ask him to make sure. So yeah, the way I did it, you get no ban, no bricks, no risk, because nothing in your system really changes at all. It's like making your Switch bilingual. It can speak Nintendo and open source at the same time. And before you ask, no, I'm not releasing this because Nintendo would nuke my channel. So yeah, it was actually a pretty fun process to actually do this. So yeah, that's pretty much the difference between hacking and engineering for control. I guess that's what I could call it. So should you now the final closing thought, the final verdict? Should you buy a Switch 2 console? Personally, no. However, some people might still want to buy this. So if you're the type of person who likes exclusives and you hate how the Switch 1 performs, because let's be honest, it's showing its age and it fucking performs like dog shit. then yeah, go for it. But now, if you're an average gamer who doesn't really play Nintendo games and you just want to get a handheld and you want to get the most out of your money and something that actually plays the AAA games, or not AAA games, but certain games you want to play on the go, then yeah, if you're that type of person, like you're a hardcore gamer, you don't play Nintendo games, then yo, don't get it, because if you're gonna be spending so much money on different consoles and try to decide, you might as well get a proper PC. But if you really want the handheld, there's a lot of handhelds out there that are not by that. Well, I mean, you could take a Valve one; it's pretty good, unless you want to wait till the Switch. I mean, the Steam Deck too. But there is Steam Decks like the Pine Neo, whatever, the one that Manjaro made. That one is pretty good. But yeah, so the answer is, in other words, if you like exclusives, yeah, it's worth it. If you don't like exclusive, no. But for the average gamer that doesn't like playing really Nintendo games, I'll be like, yeah, no. I mean, it's for the price, yeah, it's worth it, but only if you're playing Nintendo games. Because other than that, it's kind of pointless to actually have one, and the games were just freaking run like dog shit. It's not a replacement for a proper handheld or Steam or a PC. It's just kind of like it's just a Nintendo. What can I say? As always, as you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, as always, stay spooky, stay weird, and I don't know what to say. Bye.
Dim, dam, dadilam, vacarme s'en va dans l'oubli éternel. Et Gustave, dom guardiam, dilim, dididididam, lute sera dodidam, seram. Dim, dim, da da da, dim, dim, da da da, dim.